Okay, it's a couple minutes before 7, but I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, review of items not listed on the agenda.
Through you, your worship, there is a deletion of Delegation A, and that will be coming at a future meeting date.
Okay, thank you. Announcements. I'm going to start tonight because I can go either way that way. I can go. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Councillor Barton for the UX cycle on Sunday. What was the final count? They said right around 300 people on bicycles. It was absolutely amazing. And the heat that day would be enough to put anybody under, never mind going on a 55 kilometer or a 25 kilometer or a 1 kilometer bike ride. Heard all kinds of really favorable comments about our town and about Dave and his work with the cycling organization. So Dave, hats off to you, because that's probably 200 people were from outside of town that got to see our town. And as I said to the press people that were there, certainly it's an economic engine. The cyclists that come into town eat and come back and bring their families and that sort of thing. So if you wouldn't mind passing on behalf of council the appreciation for the work that you've done on the trails as well, and for a great day and bringing cyclists to Uxbridge, but also very good before you left for your routes, where the rules of the road and that sort of thing were led. And then there was also a very challenging, I saw a couple guys almost fall off their bikes, track where they had to go and do their little thing. And at one point the track was this wide, and then it narrowed down to this wide. And but anyway, I just wanted to say that I figured I was going to be going to an event maybe with 50 or 60 people, and was blown away. Not only that, but there was people at the farmers market that were sold out of goods that day because of the crowd. And I think if people know that that's there, they'll come back and visit that as well. I have a request, and maybe the papers can pick this up, from a gentleman that goes to Cuba every year, and every year he takes 2 bicycles down with him, and he is wondering if somebody has a couple bikes in their garage that he could take down with him this year, and if they could get hold of him. It's Heinz Nitsch, okay, and I think again, you know, do you have one? Okay. He's been doing this. He's been taking 2 bikes with him to Cuba for the last 15 years to give those down there that don't have the opportunity to have a bike of their own, or you know, haven't been able to have one for whatever reason. So if we could certainly, I'll mention that. Can you bring it in? Okay, and we can maybe drop it off to him. Okay, so if anybody else knows, I know that people would certainly appreciate it. Also, I just want to bring to everybody's attention that Shoppers Drug Mart is running their annual Love You fundraising campaign between September the 9th and October the 6th. And this is the program that goes to the hospital And right now, the foundation and the funds this year are going to be allocated to the purchase of a new pediatric colonoscopy. So, anybody that's going into Shoppers, please buy a heart, and that money goes directly right into our hospital, and it would certainly be appreciated. They're also having bake sale, and you can buy a window decal in the store, okay, and that date is October the 6th. Okay. Where did we start last week? Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor O'Connor. I just want to throw something in. I was at Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority Friday morning for the board meeting, and just a bit of good news. I mean, we always see in some of our lakes all these big algae blooms and that sort of thing from the phosphorus in our lakes. And as we all know, money talks, and money is a great motivator for technology. And Charles Lindbergh, as you know, he flew across the Atlantic, and the prize for doing that was $25,000 was offered to fly across there. So money talks. And what's interesting, they've announced here in North America the George Barley Water Prize. And what it is, it's to look for technologies that will sort of help with the phosphorus in our lakes and our rivers. And the prize money is $11 million. So with that sort of a prize, they're expecting a ton of technology and a lot of really interesting and innovative ideas. And one of the main test areas is going to be Holland Marsh and the Holland River. So that's kind of great. That'll be sort of their cold water or their cold climate test. So it's really kind of good news that they're working on this, and it's very interesting that we always think of our rivers and lakes here, but this is a huge issue in China. It's a huge issue. In Florida Keys, you can't see the difference between the lawns and the canal sort of it. So it's a huge issue everywhere in the world. So hopefully with some of that technology, we might get some of our lakes and rivers back in. I just thought I'd throw that in because it was a really great, presentation.
So who's providing the $11 million?
It's through a fund.
Federally or provincially?
Oh no, it's international. It's not
international.
Canadian. It's an international fund. And and it's called the George Barley Water Prize, and it's $11 million. So let's hope something happens with that sort of money, that we find a little solution to some of the phosphorus we have. I thought I'd throw that in. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Hyatt.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. Just another note about Fire Chief Phil Alexander had his father's funeral. Most of us were there on Saturday. It was a very good service. He was a well-respected gentleman in town. So, again, our condolences to their family. If you haven't seen the Story in Stone, there's a sculpture out in the front of our building. We had the unveiling last week during the Celebration of the Arts. It's a local artist, Fly Freeman. And we're planning a new activity. We have the AVEC meeting this week, so stay tuned for that one. We had the juried art show in this room too, which was gorgeous. Now we're kind of back to square one, but anyway. I think Mr. Bridgman has talked to you, Mayor O'Connor, about maybe getting art on a rotating basis through here.
If I could just
sure, just if you can add to
carry on. The art committee and the art community, we're looking for a place to hang some art. And a couple years ago, council authorized me to tell them that they could certainly hang their art in here. They'd have to sign a waiver, and they'd have to have insurance. Because this room is not manned. It does have security outside the door, but anyway, we sat down with them on
last week.
Well, I can't remember, it doesn't matter what date, and they were really enthusiastic. So I think what we'll see in the future is art displayed in here on an ongoing basis where people can come in and look at it, and if they wish to buy it, it will be for sale, but the transaction will go between the artist and the person buying it. And they said even that they would give the municipality a commission for letting it hang here. So, I think that
would look great. It's a win-win for us and for the artists involved too. And again, Dave, kudos for the event. Yesterday I was over there. It was about 90 degrees.
Oh.
And those poor guys coming in after the 55K, some of them looked like they were going to drop off their bikes. But luckily, Second Wedge came to the rescue there. So I don't know if it was a good idea drinking beer after riding that far in the hot weather. But anyway, it was a great event. maybe we can do more of those. I don't know if you were here when Shelley did the books and authors thing years ago when we closed the street down, and it was a fantastic event. And I think Upcycle could blossom into something like that over time. So again, thank you for doing that. So thank you, Mayor O'Connor.
Councillor Beach.
Good evening. Yes, we were in town yesterday, and there were cyclists all over the place, and we were at the farmer's market, and it was a really good day, and we had the DAC tour last week, and that was really interesting. And I think a few of the councillors learned maybe a little bit more about horses and how they play a part in agriculture. And this Sunday is the Farm to Train event which is sold out, and I'm trusting we're going to make a lot of money for the food bank to be able to donate again this year. And this coming Sunday, the 1st of October, is the harvest service at the Museum Church, the Fifth Line Church, at 1 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, there is a Vigil for Peace here in the parking lot at the Township on Sunday. The minister from the Anglican Church is leading that for any questions and information to go to him. And thank you very much.
Councillor Bryan.
Thank you. I won't reiterate what's already been said. I will mention one thing. We have a night at the museum, October the 4th, being put on by the grade 12 history class. That is from 6 to 8. I know all of council has received invitations, and the grade 12 history teacher will be making a presentation to us on the 2nd of October. Thank you.
Councillor Badger.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening to everyone. A few announcements. The first one I'd like to... I was really impressed with the corner of 3rd Avenue and Plank Street. What a job they did. Knocking down that house, cleaning it up. It's pleasing to the eye now. That house that was boarded up, that was just a shambles. So I want to thank the people, the company that was involved. Tremendous job. The second thing is, Worship Gary Lynn O'Connor, my wife and I attended Thursday night. We attended the Durham Region Retirees Night long-term service at Deer Creek. Over 100 people were on that retirement list. Even though the region was formed in 1974, there was a fella there that received 50 years. 50 years, and a number of 40-year people, which was just tremendous. And the last thing I'd like to announce, I will be with my daughter, Lisa, and we will have the, we'll have the tourist trailer, and we'll be in East Willenbury at the Soup Festival promoting Uxbridge.
I hope it's not this week. Nobody will be eating soup.
A lot of it is cold soup.
Okay. Councillor Barton.
Yeah, almost everything's been mentioned. The one thing is, our tourism group, Uxbridge Tourism, have built an online tour where you follow your phone from point to point. I haven't done it yet, but it's about 4K, I believe, through town. And you walk from property to property and learn about the history of Uxbridge, which is really interesting. Again, I haven't done it yet, it's been a little bit hot. And then, just Upcycle, I really want to thank that committee that put that together. There was an awful lot of work that went in. They had a person at basically every intersection, guiding people on which direction to go. They had multiple water stations. It was really, really well done. My wife rode the long distance, and Indira rode 25K, which was amazing. She's 8, which was a big ride for her. So her first road ride. Anyway, great event.
25K?
She rode 25K plus to and from Sandy Hook, so it was probably 30.
Wow.
And it was warm. Anyway, fantastic weekend, so much going on, and thanks for coming, Council, to that event.
No thanks needed. Okay, our first deputation is Anthony Burgess regarding... Oh, I'm sorry. We got a presentation of community videos first, Anthony. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is just a presentation of the community videos that we worked on this summer for your viewing. And if you have any comments or feedback, please let me know, and we'll let the video editor do their thing.
Welcome to the Township of Uxbridge, where residents can enjoy the comforts of small-town living and the amenities of nearby cities.
The township is a natural treasure, nestled among rolling hills and defined by scenic, fertile farmland that supported our agricultural heritage for generations. Uxbridge is also home to a vibrant arts community and hundreds of kilometers of hiking trails.
Whether you're looking to explore for a day or for a lifetime, come experience Uxbridge, the trail capital of Canada and a true countryside playground.
There's a couple videos.
Whether you're starting a family or looking for a comfortable place to retire, consider the Township of Uxbridge. Dynamic yet serene, it's an incredible community that offers connection, support, and plenty of room to explore.
Uxbridge is focused on health and wellness. We promote the development of a work-life balance and strive to ensure the safety of every resident. The Uxbridge Cottage Hospital provides vital emergency services, while several other clinics offer general medical and naturopathic care. We're also incredibly active, from versatile parks and studio tours to unforgettable festivals. There's always something new to experience and learn. Uxbridge is close to a number of universities in the Greater Toronto area. Come and see what life is like in the Township of Uxbridge. Check out our website or visit today.
That's about how they drive, too.
The Township of Uxbridge is a community that loves to create. Every summer, we gather for theatrical performances and all kinds of concerts, recitals at the Foster Memorial, shows at the Bandshell, and historic music hall. We enjoy art in the park, the Fall Fair, and of course, September's celebration of the Arts Festival.
The Renowned Studio Tour is a great way to connect with artists and interact with their creations. For those who prefer more cinematic experiences, though, check out the Roxy Theatre. Classically styled and always fresh. It's a true community gem.
Whatever captivates you, we're sure you'll find it in Uxbridge. Come and see for yourself. When it comes to visiting Uxbridge, the opportunities are endless. There's family fun, outdoor adventure, arts and music, historical tours, and relaxation. However you spend your time here, you'll be surrounded by the rolling hills of our countryside landscape. Experience our history by visiting sites like the Leaskdale Manse, the home of Lucy Maud, who famously authored Anne of Green Gables. You can also visit the Thomas Foster Memorial, inspired by the Taj Mahal. It's one of the only examples of Byzantine architecture on this continent. Our historical center is open for tours in the summer and hosts family events like Fright at the Museum for Halloween. Or take a trip back in time on the York-Durham Heritage Railway, a ride through the beautiful Oak Ridges Moraine. And for those who want to get outside and get active, there's no better place than here, the trail capital of Canada. Walk, cycle, mountain bike, horseback ride, snowshoe, or ski through our expansive trail network. Not to mention, we're home to some of Canada's finest golf courses. Every trip to Uxbridge is made complete with a visit to our historic downtown, filled with quaint shops, local restaurants, pubs, and cafes. and an award-winning craft brewery, you'll find something for every taste right here in town. Visit us online to plan your trip to Uxbridge. The township of Uxbridge is a collection of lovely hamlets. Each one is unique, but shares a heart that can be found in the historical, urban, downtown area. Eclectic and picturesque, it's a bustling spot that welcomes residents and visitors alike. Window shoppers can wander through the streets or stop into a cafe for a bite to eat. They can visit for festivals at Elgin Park, annual holiday parades, or to take in the beauty of changing seasons. A revitalized downtown region has encouraged the growth of our business community. Downtown is lined with delightful boutiques, and the surrounding area is home to artisans who are sure to leave you in awe. Treat yourself to something well-made that's sure to be well-loved. Parking is free, so whether you're here for an event or just to pick up some fresh produce at the local farmer's market, come and spend a day in downtown Uxbridge. With roots set deep in the farming industry, Uxbridge's economy continues to grow and sustain. But over the years, we've branched out to include so much more than just agriculture. Here, our economy is diverse thanks to the support of the BIA, our Chamber of Commerce, and connections to the Durham region. We strive to accommodate everyone from small businesses to commercial manufacturers and industrial organizations. From farmers to coffee roasters, carpenters to soap makers, Uxbridge is filled with people who take pride in their work and respect the process of thoughtful and well-made goods. A revitalized downtown region has encouraged the growth of our business community. It's helped old businesses expand and attracted new ventures that have since given our area a renewed sense of vitality. Come and learn more about doing business in Uxbridge. Visit our website or stop into town today.
Is that it?
And that's it.
Very good. That's great. Okay, Mr. Burgess. You can go up to the podium there, and if you don't mind turning on the mic, you push the, I think it's purple button.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. I'm going to make this as brief as possible. This is regarding my ingress and egress at 4909 Concession Road 6, where I reside. I wrote a letter to Mr. Kessler September 9, 2011, which was referred to Council and reviewed September 19, 2011, with a motion carried to the DOW for additional operations report. That report was submitted 5 years later, August 9, 2016, to the Council. Motion carried for more information and possible alternatives. Since then, I met with Councillor Beach, who very kindly came round to my house and had a first-hand review of the situation that we have, which maybe she can elaborate after I finish here. Thank you, Councillor Beach. In the meantime, Councillor Beach advised that it was most probably a good idea for me to attend this meeting today and talk about the proposal that Mr. Kessner, I understand, is going to present, which will be a camera, solar-powered, I presume either internet or a wireless transmission through a tablet or some other means. I did say to Mr. Kessner about 4 weeks ago, and I have been in communication with him and Mr. Reinhardt, that I thought it was a good possibility and could be as close as 100% that you could get. After thinking about it, I realized there was 2 or 3 problems. Number one, It does not consider or contemplate any other people entering or exiting my driveway. In addition, if it was in place, I could see a problem with me entering my driveway where I've got cars behind me and I see traffic coming north on the road. I'm sitting at the brow of the hill. I would have to stop, indicate, and wait. What's going to happen will be honking, aggravation. They will eventually overtake. Wham, bam, recipe for chaos. That's it, in a nutshell.
When I visited Mr. Burgess, I went south of his driveway because I couldn't see to the south, and it made me really nervous. So I went down and turned around and came back, and then I still had a problem. Like when I turned in, I had somebody right up the back of my vehicle honking because I had slowed down and I had indicated, you know, in lots of time, knowing where I was going. And then when I came out, knowing what the road was like on each side, yeah, it's a dangerous situation where it is. And I mean, there's another driveway just south, which isn't much better. I don't think the solution, what is being proposed to do with the cameras and that, because that might solve the problem. And I say might, if everything's working correctly, but that only addresses him and his wife. It doesn't address anybody else coming, going, in and out of their driveways. And the expense of it is quite costly, and I don't know whether the hydro, what Ben had said is for solar.
What he looked at.
No, he says no, it's hydro. Yeah, can we?
What Mr. Castor looked at was a transitional bore, which based, you know, those ones that bore underground from the where he was going to put the camera to my switchboard. The cost of that, he came back and told me, was about $12,000. I went on the phone and I got 2 quotes for half the price, but I think that's the scenario with when a township looks for a quote, the people are sort of humping up the cost of doing everything. That's what I understand. If he's doing a power by hydro, he has to drop down a pole transformer. He can't run the hydro straight off the wire. He's got to reduce the power, and the power in the camera is minute, like a computer. So I don't know. I thought he was doing a solar. He had looked at solar, and he looked at the boring to my hydro, which I really didn't want. But anyway, he had proposed that. Okay.
Ben, do you have any I mean, we've looked at the solar, but is there any other way that we can address this situation without taking the hill down?
The only surefire way for egress and ingress for him and his wife and the people that visit is to cut the hill down.
And we're talking thousands of dollars there.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. Oh. Does everybody know where we're talking here?
Miracle, I understand where we're talking. I don't understand why we're here, though. I don't get it. He's having trouble getting into his driveway, I presume, and so, I mean, that's not the only place in our town where people have trouble getting in and out of the driveways. I don't know why we're here. Maybe you could fill me in, because I don't understand why we're here.
well,
I live on top of the brow of the hill.
no,
Yeah.
no, sorry, sir. You've been up, so, we need to deal this with staff. How did it get on
It
the...
started with a letter from Mr. Burgess.
Okay. And the letter, was sent to you?
And presented to council.
Okay, so you're coming back with a response to that letter?
I came back with a response a year ago,
A year.
and now this is another response. Council, I had proposed a flashing light, and council didn't think at the time that that was, good enough, because after a month or 2 or 3, people just drive by it and they don't pay any attention to it anyway. So,
I think there's a very similar situation to this, and I think we can all visualize this. South of Epsom, on Reach Road, on the very top of the hill, there's a, mini farm on the south side. And back, from that going east and going west is a hidden, entrance sign. Now, we've put signs up,
yes, there's hidden entrance signs up.
right, and they're not working?
According to Mr. Burgess, they're not working. I couldn't say. I'm not the one driving in and out of his driveway.
Yeah. You know what, there's a lot of places, and I mean, nobody sitting here today, wants to see an accident happen. But there are so many places in Uxbridge Township, because of the rolling terrain, that people are coming out on top of hills, or partway down a hill, or partway up a hill. I don't know what the solution can be. I'll tell you, I'm not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to take a hill down. We start that, then we're all gonna be flat in Uxbridge, because everybody will want us to do the same thing for them. So, Councillor Beach, this is your ward.
Is there any possibility of getting the speed limit lowered? Because I know...
Won't do any good. Speed means nothing to people today.
Well, I realize that in a lot of cases, but if it went from 80 down to 50 or 60, then maybe they would drive 80 instead of the 100 down the road. I mean, because, I mean, there has been different people, even from Heritage Hills, complain about the speed in that section from there and going down past Mr. Burgess. So, I mean, you know, if it's dropped, at least most people won't go 40 over. They may go 20 over or 10 over. At least that would slow down a bit. That could be somewhat help. It's too bad that there's such a grade from the house. There could be a driveway taken, brought in from Wag Road. But there's a fairly steep incline. I don't know how that could be changed to come around.
There's 2 driveways there. Right?
On his property?
Well, there's 2 driveways on the crest of that hill.
Yes.
One of them is where, Aaron
Yeah,
Bennett lives.
yeah.
And,
Well, his
and
parents are
actually
living
his
there now.
parents are where Mr. Burgess lives.
Yes.
So,
No, 'cause like this is it, like whether another driveway as far as for Mr. Burgess, if he entered off Wag Road onto his property and came up and around to his house, that would at least alleviate for him. It's not gonna help Aaron any.
I've never heard from Aaron about bad sightlines, but
I had a call a couple of weeks ago.
from Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. I actually pulled into Aaron's last night. I put a trailer there from the event. And, it's, you know, a very similar situation. To try and pull in and out of that driveway, the sight lines are very difficult. You know, cars are going pretty fast at that same spot. I'm with Pam on this. That's a tricky area, steep on both sides. I think 60 might be a decent compromise. Ben's idea on this with the high-tech camera solution, I'm kinda high-tech, and I just see a bunch of potential issues. Cameras communicating wirelessly and possibly freezing, and internet connections. I think there's too many moving parts with something that needs to be critical for safety if you're relying on it, and I don't support that. I think it's too complex. So I think speed, or possibly a sensor on the driveway, which would only help you when you're pulling out, but a sensor as you go out of the driveway, it triggers a flashing light for the traffic so that they know someone's pulling in or out. That's the only kind of high-tech solution, and even that's sketchy.
So what happens, I mean, I know this solution was given before and it was turned down, but, why wouldn't we look at flashing light that's hooked up, like a solar flashing light
But constant?
on both of the, you know, as you're going up the hill and when you're coming down the hill, so that the people that are coming up on the other side, both are aware.
You can do.
I know we can do anything, but I guess what I'm asking you, a flashing light, to me, at least there's something there. Maybe to the people that are using that road all the time, you become aware of it, but usually people that see a flashing light are, most of the time, are aware that, you know, we need to be careful, there's something ahead.
I believe that was my recommendation a year ago, and it was not agreed to by council.
No, I understand that, Ben, but I'm saying that maybe maybe we need to readdress it. Councillor Bellinger.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I don't know what this costs, but it certainly has helped out on Durham Road 23, where you go down into Chalk Lake. There is a flashing light comes on. If you're exceeding the speed limit, it flashes and it shows you the speed limit. And automatically, when you're driving, you see this thing. You're supposed to be doing, we'll say, 60 kilometers, and it's blinking at you, you're doing 75. So you automatically slow down. I don't know what it costs, but it's effective there. The region had problems with that area, and now you have on both sides now this flashing light indicating what your speed is, and you automatically slow down. I don't know what it costs, but it's effective.
I think it's solar as well, Ben.
They can be, or they can be hooked into hydro.
Okay, so can you look at, is there any other questions? Councillor Beach.
Having something like exactly what Jack talked about, there was a study actually that Dave had shared with me in Australia about having those types of signs and even being able to move them around, not necessarily for this place, but it showed that the effectiveness was in a high percentage. I was actually really surprised, but they did quite a long, extensive study on it. But you don't want a light that's always flashing, because people do come immune to that. But if it's whether, you know, somebody's coming out the driveway and it starts flashing, but I do like Jack's idea much better as far as for speed, because it shows up when you're speeding, and it does make you think. Otherwise, it's not showing up, and then you're doing the proper speed, because I've been through a number of those on Lake Ridge and a number of other places, and it takes your eye more, and it affects the mind more, visually and mentally, than just a plain flashing light.
Yeah, and I'm not disputing that, but the reason it's there on Lake Ridge is it's a built-up area. And there's a lot of houses on Skugog side, and as well as Uxbridge. We can get a cost on it, okay? And as I said, I think that we need to look at what is the cost for a solar light as well. Okay. Yeah.
Asking Pam if there was a way in off of Wag Road, and she said it's not great, so I'm not sure what that...
Well, he'd have to build a roadway, and the road falls off quite
Yeah, it's quite a dip there.
quite a dip, off of Wag Road, so. I guess, Mr. Burgess, what we'll do is, we'll get a couple costs from, the, roads, department and get back, Pam can get back to you as to. Well, do what you've been doing all along. Well, Mr. Burgess, in fairness, that driveway's been there for years and years and years. And... Pardon me?
I would say it was most probably...
Can you come to the microwave? I'm not getting into a debate with you. In fact, I shouldn't even be having this conversation with you.
All I'm saying is the driveway, if you want to look at it from the brow of the hill, when they come over, the distance from here to my driveway, you need a football pitch almost to stop a Zayres truck, a Pepsi-Cola truck, trailer coming over. You need a football pitch to stop them at 80.
I understand that, but
Yes.
if you're coming from the south and going north,
Yes,
okay, you put your signal light on,
yep,
at least I hope you do,
Yep.
at the bottom of the hill, to
yes,
let people know that you're turning,
yes,
right?
yes,
And the same thing, you would put a signal light to turn left at approximately Wag Road
yes,
if you're going southbound,
yes.
okay? So, I would suggest that you continue doing that
Mm-hmm.
until we look at and see if there's anything we can do. There's a number of options here. Number one is rebuild your driveway coming in off of Wag Road,
Right,
but that, I mean, I know the area very well, and that would be quite costly to you because of the terrain, at that certain corner. We can look and see if, what the light, flashing light would do. Ben has also committed that he will try and get a cost on a solar, speed sign.
mm-hmm. My only point here is 6 years from when my original writing of this, and I've been, I think, very patient, and they're still not. We still haven't got anywhere.
Well,
We're going around in a circle, as far as I see.
well, okay, that's fine. As I said, we'll look into it and we'll have something back for you.
Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is some due diligence here should be done. 6 years to me is a long time.
Well, I have no idea why it's 6 years. I'll have to ask staff to find that out.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much, Mayor,
Thank-
councillors.
Thank you.
So, it's just, if you could just pass the resolution, that's what you want me to do.
Okay, so we need a resolution here.
I
Couns-
have something written down.
Okay, what have you got there, please? From staff, then council will, after we have the report, then council will have to make a decision on the designation of, the Samuel Sharp home. Okay? All right. Thank you very much, Helen, and if you could, take into, Debbie a copy of your presentation. Okay? Okay, approval of the minutes of council September the 11th. Councillor Hyatt, Councillor Barton, all those in favor? Carried. Correspondence, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Through you, Your Worship, correspondence number 125, Region of Durham, to Ala Boyd, Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, RE Durham Region's response to the proposed regional nurse, natural heritage system and agricultural system.
Well, shouldn't we support?
Sorry, are they asking for our support?
No.
I think it's a great idea, I just,
I think,
they've already approved it, I understood, right? I mean, I can
Yeah.
put a motion forward to support
okay,
what they
so
said.
receive for information,
Yeah.
okay? Seconded by Councillor, Ballinger. All those in favor? Carry.
Correspondence 126, Region of Durham, RE protecting the automotive sector during upcoming North American Free Trade Agreement negotiations.
Counselor?
Yeah, I would support this. There are a lot of people that work for GM or GM affiliated businesses that live in Uxbridge. So I think we need to support this. And hopefully our team will pull a rabbit out of the hat down in Washington and score some big points there.
Can you imagine negotiating?
I'm keeping an open mind, so.
Oh, good, 'cause other people's are closed. Counselor?
Just a comment, it was supported unanimously at the region.
Yeah. Are you seconding it? Yes. Okay. All those in favor? Carried.
127, Municipality of Clarington, RE Rapid Response Vehicle request.
Safer information? Yep.
If something like this was to go through, is the region planning to dedicate ambulances for all municipalities, do you know, or is it still too early to tell yet?
Yes, far too early.
I mean, I get where they're going, but it has to be fair, obviously, across the region.
Right across the region, exactly.
I'll receive it then.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Barton. All those in favor? Carried.
128, Town of Halton Hills, RE Zero Tolerance Against Racism and Racist Acts of Violence.
Councillor Hyatt.
I'll support it again. This is a no-brainer. How can we not support this? And I think there's a flag that somebody's producing. I don't know if you've heard about that. It's like an anti-racism type of thing, and I'm not sure of the name of the organization, but I think we should be flying it on our secondary pole if we can get a hold of one. It'll be just my recommendation. Courtesy pole. Thank you.
Okay, so we're supporting this. Councillor Hyatt and Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried.
Just a second, Gary Lynn.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just a quote that came out today, just with with all the controversy going on in the U.S., especially with the NFL and everything else. Daryl Earnhardt Jr., which is an interesting person, quoted JFK today and said, "All Americans are granted rights to peaceful protest. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable." My point with that is, obviously we denounce racism, but we live in a free country where people need to be able to peacefully protest whatever they want. As soon as you take away that right, we're open to people coloring outside the lines, which is scary. So
I agree.
And of course, the kneeling is from the Freedom Walk of Martin Luther King, right? That's why they're kneeling. So I mean, it's
And the fist was from?
that was the Olympics. Yeah.
Yep. What a mess they're in.
Can I just add to his point?
Sure.
You mentioned the states, and I was down there recently. It's enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. It's the Second Amendment that you can protest anything, anywhere, at any time, should you choose to do so. But it has to be non-violent and apparently non-derogatory, I think was the word they used. In other words, I can't come up and call you a list of names to your face. Yeah, but the president's allowed to. But that's a whole other story.
Moving right along.
Anyway, it's entrenched in their constitution, and I think we have a similar thing in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms too.
So we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, committee minutes, report 17, and number 18, one of general purpose, and the second one of planning. Moved by Councillor Malloy, seconded by Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Reports to Council, report PWO 4016 of Ben Kester, regarding hidden driveway signs, Class 3 roads. And this has to be lifted, exactly. I have a motion to lift. Okay, Councillor Malloy and Councillor Hyatt. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. What do you wish to do with this, Councillor Barton?
Sure. I think we already dealt with this with the motion I made earlier in the meeting.
Okay, so we just received this then?
Sure.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Report PWO 6117, re-hidden driveway signs, Class 3. Received for information. Councillor Barton and Councillor Malloy. All those in favor? Carried. Whoops, sorry. Report PWO 6717, Ben Kester, additional driveway at Horner Court. Councillor Malloy?
Mayor O'Connor, I have spoke to Ben about this, and the additional driveway, I don't know if you know Horner Court, but Durham 39 runs north-south, Horner Court runs to the east. And the new driveway will be probably 100 yards from Durham Road 39, so it's my understanding it isn't going to impact the neighbors, and it should be a safe entrance.
Okay,
So I'd support it.
Support?
Yes. Seconded
by Councillor Barton. All those in favor? Carried. Report RC 2417 of Amanda Ferrero, tourism, Uxpool Air Handling Unit. How much money are we going to spend in this? You know what? We're pouring good money into a bad situation here.
We did know it was coming, though.
Well, we knew absolutely it was coming, but to spend $150,000 correcting something that we know is going to be removed, hopefully within the next couple years. Councillor Bryan.
I have a couple of issues with this. One, I'm not a big fan of sole sourcing this much money, and two, the math doesn't add up. Option 1 isn't 17 to 18 weeks. It's 15 to 17, and option 2 isn't 10 to 12, it's 12 to 14. So to go without council's approval does not make the 5-week difference. So I'm not in favor of this at all. When you total up her weeks, her numbers are wrong on her report. Right?
Are they, well,
sure they are, because 2 and 3 is... Pardon?
Why don't we ask Deb, because about the purchasing and how long we have to...
But it just says they've taken council approval for TBA, that's what they're saying is 3 weeks, but it's, even that, 2 and 3 is 5, and 4 is 9, and 4 is 13, and 2 is 15, not 17. Right? So it's 15 to begin with, without the council. And when you go to the second one for option 2, the math doesn't add up either. It's 10 is 12, right?
I wonder if it's a lead time.
Doesn't say that.
No, I know, I'm just curious.
So I'm not in favor of supporting this at all, because the information...
Number 2 works out.
No,
It
2 and...
says equipment delivery 6 weeks, 4 to 6, so you have to count the 6. 6, and construction 4 is 10, and testing, commissioning 2 weeks, adds up to 12.
Right, but she's got 10.
No, she's got option 2, 10 to 12 weeks.
But I don't buy that, because you're not doing it the same way at the top, right? Because if you go 2, 5, and 6 is 11, is, I don't like it. I'm just not comfortable with that. I don't like the way she's done the math.
Yes.
I think the important thing here is, I understand the math, whether it's right or wrong. I think the important thing here is that it's red tagged for 90 days. And we had some discussion, and we have been discussing some of our procurement policies over the last couple of weeks. And there's a report coming to council very soon. And it dealt with this sort of issue. And the good thing is that the equipment itself, which is the major portion of the purchase, is going out to 2 or 3, I think 3 or 4 companies to get quotations on it. So I think the issue here is timing more than anything else. And being red tagged, they essentially, we have to get it done as quickly as possible. And I think if they red tag it, we know there's some leaks now already in heat exchangers, so we have to be very careful that we get it done as quickly as possible.
We're also going into the winter season,
Yeah.
which keeps a whole other
So I would
situation
almost
for us.
classify this as emergency fix.
This definitely is an emergency situation.
Okay, so we've all read the report. The money has been budgeted for, and hopefully this is the last big expense that she admits to it, before we get the new one going. So what's council's wishes on this? Councilor Malloy?
I'll move the recommendation.
Seconded by Councilor Hyatt. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Bylaw.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I have the bylaws. First and second reading. The leave be granted to introduce bylaws number 2017-138 to 2017-144, and the same be read a first and second time. Third reading. The bylaws number 2017-138 to 2017-144 be now read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal the same. If I could just throw a comment, I mean, it makes, they make a good case to shut it down, don't they? I mean, the reality is, they can buy it from Quebec a lot cheaper, why wouldn't they? Anyway, so, hydro is such a game, I don't even know what else to say. It's so much money, though, and it is such a game. It'll all depend on politics, right? It'll depend on the government, that's where it's gonna end up, I'm sure. But I agree, if you can buy it cheaper, why would they do it? I don't even understand why you would. But, and I would just receive it.
Let's just go on out. Council is going to go now into camera, but first of all, we will ask questions.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, Mayor, through you, I'd like to ask Ms. LaRue for some clarification on the non-designation or designation. If I understand correctly, when a house goes, or a building goes on the non-designated list, that just puts it on the waiting list until such time as demolition is proposed, and then you check to see if it's going to be designated or not. Is that correct?
No.
So the purpose of putting a piece of property on the non-designated list is, as I said, it's a future planning tool. So there is protection on the property should somebody look at, they want to demolish the property. It could sit on there for a very long time, but the main purpose of that list is, number one, for protection from demolition while the property is investigated to determine whether or not it warrants designation.
Okay. But in the case of 51st Avenue, it's my understanding they don't actually want to demolish the entire building, so does that still come into effect?
It could, yes, from even a portion of the building, yes.
Portion of the building, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Mayor, in the announcements, you mentioned something about displaying local art in the council chambers as a sort of gallery, sales gallery?
Well, I wouldn't class it as sales gallery, but from what I understood from Mr. Bridgman, that if the paintings could be for sale, and we thought that that was a good way to show off the talent of people in our community and surrounding areas. If they did want to buy, somebody come in and did look and want to buy a piece and it was for sale, then they'd have to deal with the owner of the piece of art, and then Mike said, or Mr. Bridgman said that you know, they'd look at doing a commission for the township. Now the township is not in it for a commission. The original thing was to allow the artists in our area a place to display their art. So it becomes basically a gallery. You see many restaurants doing the same now and that sort of thing.
Have you any idea when this might begin?
Mike was going to work, and he thought, Debbie, he thought maybe the beginning of the year.
Beginning of next year?
Yeah, in 2018.
And one final thing, Madam Mayor. On the issue of recording, my colleagues here at the table, we're well aware that we're not allowed to record council meetings.
Mhm.
But does this mean that we could record presentations? Because many, many times, some of the presentations that come here, I would love to be able to record them.
Mhm.
Is
If-
this gonna change in any way?
No, I think what happened tonight will probably be the way that we'll continue, is to ask for permission to record a presentation,
Thank you.
okay? Yeah. It's also on YouTube. The recording would be on YouTube. Right, yeah. Okay. Moya, no, you're not okay. We heard you again tonight. Are you getting better? Good. Oh, that's good to hear. Mr. Standard. Thank you. Nothing? Okay, pardon me? No? No, I'd like to get home early tonight. I need a motion, please, to go into camera. Councillor Hyatt and Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried.